They submitted questions in writing, and the extensive questions were answered. Mr. Lee.
On the same, I have something on Yemen, but on that same topic, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but basically Mr. Francois Molins says that he wanted to wait until he had spoken with the UN aid worker, Swedish national Mr. Kompass, before launching an investigation, and that the UN had refused to lift his diplomatic immunity as required for a formal interview. And they also say that there were no interviews conducted with alleged victims or soldiers during the 9 months after they got the report because of this failure to lift immunity.
No, I think what I'm saying to you is that we are cooperating with the French judicial authorities. We have cooperated with them, and they submitted questions to the lead investigator, and those questions were answered.
And what about now the Central African Republic authorities say that they're going to sue the soldiers? And I wanted to know if you have any response to that, and two, they have obviously been prejudiced in bringing their own case, which presumably would have been more active than the French case because they were never informed by the UN.
I think that
children were raped.
Allegedly. The actions of the CAR vis-a-vis the French soldiers is a bilateral issue between France and the CAR.
But what about Kenya? And I've asked this, but I wanted to ask it again. What is the relationship between the UN system in the Central African Republic and the Central African Republic authorities when the UN system becomes aware of the alleged abuse of children in the country? Can you answer that?
I can't answer that in detail at this point.
And can we have one last one? Sorry, I tried yesterday.
No, Matthew.
Same topic.
Matthew, I promise I will come back to you. Let's do a first round. The report was sent to the office, the Human Rights Office in Geneva. As we all know, it was shared unofficially in an unredacted form with French judicial authorities by a staff member. It was then, from there on, the Human Rights Office and the UN has cooperated fully with the French investigators. That's as much as I can share with you at this time. Mr. Lee.
Sure. I ran 2 questions about Yemen, but I want to ask you about what you just said about Central African Republic. The Central African Republic. Number one, there's a letter that's emerged from the French ambassador, permanent representative to the UN in Geneva, Nicolas Nemen-Chow, I may be saying it wrong, in which he writes very formally to Anders Kompass on July 30th, 2014, saying, "Je vous remercie pour cette information," etc. So is this the leak, or are you saying, or you or Mr. Colville saying that there was some other, when you said judicial authorities, it seems like the ambassador of France in Geneva was saying to Mr. Kompass, thank you for giving us this. So this is for the unauthorized.
Exactly.
Okay. And the other one, I really wanted to ask this because it doesn't require OIOS. The ruling by the UN Dispute Tribunal, that reinstated Mr. Kompass and said he should not have been suspended, says in paragraph 9 that in a March 12, 2015 meeting, he was urged to resign by the Deputy High Commissioner for Human Rights, who said adding that such a request had been made by the Undersecretary General for the Department of Peacekeeping Operations. What I want to know is, since these events, by your account, took place all under MISCA, not under MINUSCA, had nothing to do with the UN peacekeeping mission that began, why was a request by the head of DPKO made for Mr. Kompass to resign?
I think you're taking as fact something that one party to this administrative proceeding is stating. I'm not going to comment on the veracity of those claims. Obviously, this is all under investigation, but I am not taking as fact what this gentleman said.
But there's a very simple answer here, which is that you in this building on some 30-something floor, Mr. Ladsous is there, and it's a simple yes or no question. Did he ask for the resignation of Mr. Kompass, and if so, why?
I understand. I'm not taking as fact what is
right. Does he deny it?
That's where I will go.
Can I ask you about Yemen?
You may ask me.